Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, reporting from New Orleans for the Great GrowCo event by Inc. Magazine, sponsored by our sponsorship here by Sound Telecom, sound-tele.com. Delighted to have guests on the program. We're great friends of a company called Outskirts Press. I love their books. I love what they do with their authors and the things they do in terms of the quality of books that they bring to the marketplace is really quite impressive, and an excellent book. We get to talk about this segment, and it's something that's touched the lives of so many people, which is mental illness. I know very few families that don't have someone in the family that struggles, doesn't struggle with mental illness. The author of the book is Linda Baron-Katz, and Linda, I'm delighted to have you on the program. Your book, Surviving Mental Illness, My Story.
Thank you.
Delighted to have you on. Real quickly, kind of give us the overview of your book, please.
Okay. Surviving Mental Illness, My Story brings a message of hope that life is worth living despite having a mental illness. Throughout this book, I describe the heartbreaks and challenges that I had to deal with in having a mental illness like bipolar disorder. Overcoming the fear of stigma was difficult enough in the outer world that I did not need it among my family, friends, and relationships that I had striven within the Orthodox Jewish community. However,
so wait a minute, Linda, because you got a lot of information, and I'll let you continue your thought. So, did you feel like there was a particular challenge with your mental illness and being a part of the Jewish community? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Talk a little bit about that.
Especially during my single years when I was looking to get married, to find a relationship with, people who I used to go out with, the moment they knew about my mental illness or the moment I told them about it, they ran away from me. And the Orthodox Jewish community in which I live in is very strict with certain rules they have about their faith, how they observe, things like that. And one of the things that the Orthodox Jewish community believes is continuing forth, multiplying, having children.
Right.
Most men that I dated thought that maybe having children would be too difficult for me, or that I couldn't have children, as if that was the only thing in the relationship.
I'm curious. Let me ask you: did the treatment? Did you find that the treatment of your mental illness also had a cultural or social rub against the way things were culturally done in the Orthodox Jewish community? Was there a tension there because of the way you had to treat it, or not so much?
Not so much. I mean, the Orthodox Jewish community did not have much to do in the way I got treated. Although my psychiatrist, he was Orthodox, and he was Jewish. And maybe it did a bit because I wanted my own therapist and psychiatrist to be Jewish too, so they could know, so they're familiar with where I'm coming from, where my culture is. So
yeah.
I think that's
for the larger... Okay, go ahead.
I think that's very important to have someone who can relate to you.
Right, and I would say because of the fact, like you already pointed out, there is kind of a strictness in the culture of the Orthodox Jew. You wanted to make sure whatever was being said would be something that would be apropos for that culture, and so having someone who is also an Orthodox Jew obviously helped a lot.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about some of the larger messages for the audience out there. Talk a little bit about the hope when it comes to dealing with mental illness.
Well, we just recently had a lot of violent news outbreaks on mental illness, like what happened at Newtown, Connecticut, mental illness is not violent. And a lot of people who do have mental illness are not violent. Mm-hmm. And that's the distinction that I want to make. People can achieve recovery from mental illness. People can lead productive lives with having a job and be able to function. And this gives them hope. I lead my own peer support group now for Jewish adults with mental illness. And many of them who come to my group like it because they get to meet other people like themselves and other people in their culture. And we talk about certain topics like vocational issues that the Jewish community is concerned about. Getting back into Judaism, because so many people have lost their faith in God and in their religion.
So is your book particularly suited for someone with a Jewish background, or do you feel like it was made for anyone that struggles with mental illness?
I feel like it's made for anyone with a mental illness.
How old were you when you discovered that you had mental illness, when that you were bipolar?
Yes, when I discovered that I had mental illness, I knew mental illness was in my family, and my mom had it first. But I did not want to become like my mother, and I thought that I was going to when I was a child. It had an impact on me. But,
Linda, I got to wrap it up. Linda Baron-Katz. I have down here that you can find a book at outskirtspress.com. I see outskirtspress.com/surviving mental illness. Is there any other website you'd like to mention?
Yes, there is. My own website that I created.
Go right ahead. Give that.
It's surviving-mental-illness.com.
surviving-mental-illness.com. Our guest has been Linda Baron-Katz. Linda, thanks so much for being with us and sharing your story. I encourage people to check out that book today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, when we come back, more for you right here on The Price of Business.
Born to be alive, born to be alive.